How you doing? Today we're doing a teaching on the story of the judges of Othniel, Ehud, Shachmar, Deborah, and Barak. So let's look at the teaching and how this helps you and compare it to your daily life. So let's look. This is the map of Israel. This kind of gives you an idea. Israel at the north, Judah at the south. So we see that Israel was separated. You had Jeroboam and Israel and Rehoboam and Judah. There was separation between the kingdom of Israel. We find out in 931 BC. So after Solomon's death, his two sons, basically were divided, and Jeroboam at north, Israel, and Rehoboam, Judah, which is south. So we see the separation. It's neighbors of the Israel. We see there was a nation Edom, Moab, Ammon, Aram, which is Syria, and you have Amalek right here. Amalek, it comes from the line of Esau. Philistia, we know about Philistia. That's where Samson, got captured and killed over 3,000 Philistines. Remember the story with Samson when the Philistines took him captured to the temple and so forth for Samson to make sport. So I mean that's in Book of Judges. So let's look at this one. This is another map of Israel. It's separated by different tribe, like Judah, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Reuben, and so forth. We see how each region of Israel is separated. So there's another map, and this kind of gives you an idea. And anyway, so this is an example of the judges. So the first judge we have, one, is Othniel. Second, Ehud. Third, Shachmar. Fourth, Deborah. Those are the ones we talk about today. Fifth, Gideon. Sixth, Abimelech. Abimelech was a bad judge. Abimelech was a son of Gideon, was a bad judge. He killed his brothers, innocently. So Abimelech was a bad judge. We have Tola, the seventh. Eighth, Jair. Ninth, Japhet. 10th, Isban. 11th, Elon. 12th, Abdon. 13th, Samson. We know Samson was the 13th judge. So 14th, Eli. We know Eli in Book of Samuel how he died. He received the news from a messenger. So we know he died in a camp at Shiloh. So I'm not trying to put too much knowledge, but Eli died. He was the 14th judge after Samson. So we have the 15th Samuel, And then some of the names we're going to cover, Canaanites, Jebusites, Amorites, Hivites, Hittites, Perizzites. These were Canaanite tribal names in the land of Canaan. In the land of Canaan, there are all these names. You have Jebusites, Canaanites, Amorites, Hivites. All these names, were located. All these tribal names were located in the land of Canaan. So when Joshua and Caleb took over the land of Canaan, in Book of Joshua, we find out how he drove them out. But some of the tribal names were still there in the land of Canaan. All these names, most of them come from the line of Esau, the line of Lot. They come from the line of Canaan, so forth. And also Canaan was a son. Canaan was the grandson of Noah. Canaan was the son of Ham. Ham was the son of Noah. So that's from Canaan. You have all these other tribal nations that was located in the land of Canaan. So when you read the Bible, it's like, what's Ammonites? Where's Amalekites? What's all these names? So it gives you an idea. Not only that, you simplify it, to the point, so you don't get confused, So hopefully this helps you out. So, all right, the outline today we cover is from Book of Judges, chapter 3 to chapter 5. So let's look at the first outline. The nation which were left in the land of Canaan to test Israel. Othniel becomes Israel's judge and delivers Israel from Cushan Rishathaim. Ehud frees the Israelites from Eglon, the king of Moab. Shachmar becomes Israel's judge and delivers them from the Philistines. Judges chapter 3, verse 1. Now these are the nations which the Lord left that he might test Israel by them. That is, all who had known any of the wars in Canaan. So that's what it is. This was only so that the generation of the children of Israel might be taught to know war, at least those who had not formerly known it. Namely 5 lords of Philistines, all the Canaanites, the Zidonites, and the Havites, who dwelt in the mount of Lebanon, and from the Mount Baal Hermon to the entrance of Hamath. Verse 4, and they were left that he might test Israel by them to know whether they would obey to commandments of the Lord, which he had commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses. Thus the children of Israel dwell among the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. We know about this tribal name as I was teaching earlier, beginning of the chapter. And they took their daughters to be their wives, and gave the daughters to their sons, and they served their gods. So the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. They forgot the Lord their God and served Baals and Ashtaroth. We know Baals and Ashtaroth was the gods of the Philistines, you know. Was the gods of Philistines, was the pagan gods of Philistines. So what happened, Israelites were going after after pagan gods, you know, which made the Lord anger, you know. So verse 8. Therefore the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of Cushan Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia. And the children of Israel served Cushan Rishathaim 8 years. So when the children of Israel cried out to the Lord raised up a deliverer for the children of Israel, who delivered them. Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. So we know Othniel became the judge and also a deliverer for the Israelites. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he judged Israel. He went out to war, and the Lord delivered Cushan Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia, into his hand, and his hand prevailed over Cushan Rishathaim. Verse 11. So the land had rest for 40 years. Then Othniel, the son of Kenaz, died, and the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord strengthened Eglon, king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord. We know Moab, as we're looking at Moab, they come from the line of Lot, as well as Ammonites. So Ammonites and Moabites, they both come from the line of Lot. How we know that? Remember when Lot and his family, when they left Sodom and Gomorrah, remember when they left? Anyway, the 2 daughters got them drunk, and the 2 daughters had sex with Lot, and that's where the 2 nations came, Moabites and Ammonites. So this kind of gives you an idea at the genealogy. When you look at the First Chronicles, you see all of the genealogy. So these were pretty much, Moabites and Ammonites were actually a thorn into Israel during that time. So let's follow the next story. Then he gathered to himself the people of Ammon and Amalek, went and defeated Israel and took possession of the city of palms. We know Amalek, it comes from the line of Esau also. Esau was the brother of Jacob, you know. So both of them, Esau and Jacob, were the 2 sons of Isaac, you know. Verse 14. So the children of Israel served Eglon, king of Moab, 18 years. But when the children of Israel cried out to the Lord raised up a deliverer for them, Ehud, the son of Gera, the Benjamite, a left-handed man. By him the children of Israel sent tribute to Eglon, the king of Moab. Now Ehud made himself a dagger. It was a double-edged and a cubic length. I guess it was a sword. That's what he made himself to. You know, he made a sword, you know. So, and fastened it under his clothes on his thigh. So he brought the tribute to Eglon, the king of Moab. Now Eglon was a very fat man. So I guess the Bible actually specified the king of Moab. He actually was a fat person, you know. So he was a fat man. And when he had finished presenting the tribute, he sent away the people who had carried the tribute. But he himself turned back from the stone images that were at Gilgal. and said, I have a secret message for you, O king. He said, keep silent, and all who attend him went out from him. So Ehud came to him. Now he was sitting upstairs in his cool private chamber. Then Ehud said, I have a message from God for you. So he rose from his seat. So I don't know what he was doing, what Eglon was doing in a private chamber. Was he going to the bathroom? We don't know that. But we kind of have an idea. He needed some privacy during that time. But Ehud was a judge. He was trying to kill Eglon. Eglon was a king of Moabites. They were enemies to Israel during that time. So then Ehud reached in his left hand, took the dagger. What's dagger? A sword. He took the sword from his right thigh and thrust it into his belly. So pretty much, I want to tell you this, Bible's not love and roses. There's a lot of battles. There's a lot of conflict between Israel and enemies, So this kind of gives you some specification. Ehud took the sword, stabbed the guy in the belly, and the guy, Eglon, that's his name, Eglon, died, So it's not roses and petals all the time. We can see the afflictions. We can see, we can see the battles, So let's go to the next verse. Even the hilt went in after the blade, and the fat closed over the blade, for he did not draw the dagger out for his belly, and his entrails came out. So Ehud killed Eglon, Eglon, the king of Moabites. Next verse. Then Ehud went out through the porch and shut the doors of the upper room behind him and locked them. He's like, that's it. I kill Eglon the king. I'm going to lock the doors. Nobody knows it. I kill them. When he had gone out, Eglon's servant came to look, and to their surprise, the doors of the upper room were locked. So they said, it is probably attending to his needs in his coolie chamber. Well, his servants thought that he's in the bathroom. He's doing his business. He was doing his private, thing in the bathroom. They thought he was in the bathroom. So they waited until they were embarrassed, and still he did not open the doors of the upper room. Therefore, they took the key and opened them, and there was their master fallen dead on the floor. So Eglon, I guess when the servants came in, they saw Eglon fallen on the floor, with the sword in his, in his stomach, with the sword being stabbed. So verse 20. But Ehud had escaped while they delayed and passed beyond the stone images and escaped to Syria. And it happened when he arrived that he blew the trumpet in the mountains of Ephraim, and the children of Israel went down with him from the mountains, and he led them. Then he said to them, follow me, for the Lord has delivered your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand. So they went down after him, seized the fords of Jordan, leading to Moab, and did not allow anyone to cross over. And at the time they killed about 10,000 men of Moab, all stout men of valor, not a man escaped. So the Israelites end up not only killing the king, Eglon, the king of Moabites, but also the 10,000 Moabite soldiers. So Israel killed 10,000 Moabites, 10,000 of their enemies. So let's look at next verse. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had rest for 8 years. After him was Shachmar, the son of Anath, who killed 600 men of Philistines with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel. Well, we also know another guy that killed Philistines, not 600. Not 600 men. This guy, Samson, killed 1,000 Philistines with a donkey jaw. So he took a donkey jaw, killed 1,000 Philistines. We know that in the book of Judges, chapter 15. So, but we see Shachmar, he killed 600 Philistines. So similar event. Next, the next outline. Deborah becomes Israel's judge. Deborah and Barak served from Jabin to Sisera. We know Deborah, she was a female. Well, as we're looking at the story, Deborah never fought in a battle. She actually sent a man to fight. Well, some people let's give credit to more women, but the thing is, she never really fought in a battle. She never did. Actually, she sent Barak to fight. She stayed to the rear. Which is okay. Not a problem. So Deborah becomes the Israel judge. Deborah and Barak saved them from Jabin and Sisera. Jabin was a king of Canaan, and Jabin was the king of Canaan, and Sisera was the captain of the Canaan, of the army of Canaan, Next outline. Barak defeats Jabin, the king of Canaan, and Sisera, the commander of Canaan. This is the map. This kind of gives you an idea. So you have the Canaan right here. These were pretty much also a thorn to Israel during that time. So you had Joshua and Caleb, leaving the Mount Sinai. By the way, Mount Sinai, it's not here. When you look at the back of the Bible, sometimes you think, that's the Mount Sinai. Really, some of that stuff, really the location of Mount Sinai is right here in the land of Midian, So, you have tradition that put the Mount Sinai right here. But I'm going to skip the topic. So, anyway, so basically, the Israelites left from over here, came to Kadesh Barnea, and then conquered from Mount Nebo to Jericho and so forth. That's what Joshua and Caleb did. They crossed Jordan, and that's where Joshua and Caleb took over the land of Canaan, and during that time they separated by each Israel tribe. So anyway, so these Canaanites were a thorn into Israel during that time, during the period of Judges. So Judges, let's look at chapter 4. Verse 1, when Ehud was dead, the children of Israel again did evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, who reigned in Hazor. The commander of his army was Sisera, who dwelt in Harashat Hagoyim. Verse 3, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord, for Jabin had 900 chariots of iron. He had 900 horses. That's a lot. It is. And for 20 years he had harshly oppressed the children of Israel. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Labitoth, was judging Israel at the time. And she would sit under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel. Well, we know Bethel, that's that's where Jacob went, Bethel, when you familiarize yourself with the city names, it really plays back because okay, Bethel, it's the city, what happened with Jacob and Esau. So, verse 5, and she would sit under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel and the mountains of Ephraim. And the children of Israel came to her for judgment. Then she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, from Kadesh and in Naphtali, and said to him, has not the Lord God of Israel commanded, go and deploy troops at Mount Tabor? Take with you 10,000 men of sons of Naphtali and of the sons of Zebulun. And against you I will deploy Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his horses, with his chariots, and his multitude at the river Gishon, and I'll deliver him into your hand. So pretty much Deborah, she didn't went to fight in the battle. She actually sent Barak to fight against the Canaanites, against Jabin army, Jabin was the king of Canaan. Verse 8, and Barak said to her, if you will go with me, then I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. So, next verse. So she said, I will surely go with you. Nevertheless, there will be no glory for you in the journey you are taking. For the Lord will sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. Then Deborah arose and went with Barak to get to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh. He went up with 10,000 men under his command, and Deborah went up with him. Now Heber the Kenite of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moses, had separated himself from the Kenites and pitched his tent near the terebinth tree at the Zenim, which is besides Kadesh. So we know Heber the Kenite was related to father-in-law of Moses. So they were pretty much kind of friends with Israel, during that time. And they reported to Sisera, and Barak, the son of Abinoam, had gone up to the Mount Tabor. So Sisera gathered together all his chariots, 900 chariots of iron, and all the people who were with him from Harashot Hagoyim to the river of Gishon. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Up, for this is the day in which the Lord has delivered Sisera into your hand. Has not the Lord gone out before you?" So Barak went down from the Mount Tabor with 10,000 men, following him. And the Lord routed Sisera and all his chariots and all his army with the edge of the sword before Barak, and Sisera alighted from his chariot and fled away on foot. So basically Barak was chasing him, was chasing his army. He knew that Sisera, the commander of the army of Canaanite, Sisera, he knew that he couldn't win the battle, so he ran on foot. So that's what we see on the story, He fled away on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as Harashot Hagoyim. Harashot Hagoyim, it's a place in Israel. And all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword. Not a man was alive. So Barak was killing all these Canaanites, during that time. Verse 17. However, Sisera had fled away on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber, the Kenite. For there was a peace between Jabin, king of Hazor, and the house of Heber, the Kenite. So pretty much Sisera, he went on foot to Jael for help. He thought, okay, let me see if this lady is going to help me out. So he went to her tent, to Jael's tent. Verse 18, and Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, "Turn aside, my lord, turn aside to me, do not fear." And when he had turned aside with her into the tent, she covered him with a blanket. Then he said to her, "Please give me a little water to drink, for I'm thirsty." So she opened a jug of milk, gave him a drink, and covered him. So pretty much Sisera, the commander of the Canaanites, asked this lady, Jael, to take him in a tent and to give him a blanket and so forth. But let's watch the next verse. We'll see how this turns around. And he said to her, "Stand at the door of the tent, and if any man comes and inquire of you and says, is there any man here? You will say no." Then Jael, Heber's wife, took a tent peg and took a hammer in her hand and softly to him and drove the peg into his temple and went down into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. Weary means tired. Pretty much this lady took the nail of a tent and just drove in his head. So hey, I'll give you some milk. Yeah, you can steal my tent. But this lady, she wasn't butterflies and coke and sugar. It wasn't. She actually took a tent nail and drove it in his head. So the Bible is not always love and David. You see stories of battles, fights between Israel and its enemy. And some of them actually go on what happened. So let's follow with the next verse. And then as Barak pursued Sisera, Jael came out to meet him and said to him, "Come, I will show you the man whom you seek." And when he went into her tent, there lay Sisera, dead with the peg in his temple. So as Barak came into Jael's tent, he saw Sisera, the commander of the Canaanite army. He saw Sisera dead with a nail in his head. That's what happened, So on that day, God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, in the presence of the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel grew stronger and stronger against Jabin, king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin, king of Canaan. So we see how Israelites eventually subdue Jabin. We see how Israelites subdue, how they overtook the Canaanites with the help of God. We see that. So anyway, let's go to chapter 5. In this chapter, we see that Barak and Deborah, they sing a song, or also praise to the Lord for the victory of the Canaanites. So that's what's going on in this chapter, So the song of victory over Canaanites from Deborah and Barak. So Deborah and Barak singing praises to the Lord for victory over Canaanites, over Canaanites. So anyway, I hope this will help you out. And I know this was good, and I hope this bless you. And what we learn about this, even though you're going through some hard times, and so forth. God deliver you from your, from the challenges, So, sometimes you deal with financial struggle, with sickness, and so forth. God will deliver, His people from the challenges. He will deliver you from the challenges you deal with. So I hope this helped you out, and I hope this bless you. Thank you so much, and be blessed. Thank you.